Pokemon ZA is so bad that Hassan Piker's dog was electrified with how bad it is. Well, was that joke too soon? I don't care, because Pokemon is where Hassan was destined to be reincarnated. Yeah, that's right. That way, he can shock as many puppies as much as he wants. You know, now that I think about it, when it comes to the Pokemon Sims, if Game Freak released a Pikachu shot collar for like $800, the Pokemon fans will happily wear it all day just to be shocked and then saying, "Give me more shocks, daddy." Hit the like button, folks, and subscribe, baby. You know the rules. Nobody else is gonna be as honest as me when it comes to gaming news or anything in general. Now, folks, the Pokemon developers could literally take a hot, steamy dump into a bucket, leave it there for like 5 weeks, and then slap a Pikachu sticker on it, and the 30-year-old man children would spend hundreds for that sweet, sweet nostalgia. Because I tell you, these Pokemon players are like Disney adults trying to recapture their childhood. Because you go on YouTube and you see people say, "This is the impossible challenge." The real impossible challenge is these Nintendo fanboys not trying to buy schlop by the millions. Now, ladies and gents, Nintendo released a product a few days ago called Pokemon A to Z, and Pokemon A to Z is what happens when all of your innovation goes to your legal team instead of the development team. Guys, I mean, this game is so low budget, you can't go into the stores. It genuinely looks like a Wii U shovelware game. You know what? You know what actually make me hate, Pokemon ZA less? If they allowed Pokemon to, eat the homeless people, because at least then there would be some comedy. You know what I'm talking about? Get some excitement going on in the game, some aliveness. Now, we have the media shills out there who say it's a smaller city. It has button-mashing battle systems that everybody hates. It has, PS2 graphics. And the game runs like we're giving it an 8 out of 10. This is why I make content on YouTube, because I'm sick of these people lying to you. Without people like me, and by the way, it's not just me, there's a lot of creators out there who are calling out Nintendo. These corpo shills will just paint a narrative, pretending everything is great. It's just an 8 out of 10, as if we're just supposed to believe that. No, that's not happening. It's 2025. The viewers get to pick who they want to watch. And by the way, you have these, these reviewers saying that nobody plays, Pokemon for graphics. Well, guess what? Nobody plays Elden Ring for graphics either, but it still looks good. It has a good story and it's compelling enough for you to invest more of your time into playing it. I'm just so sick of these excuses. In Pokemon in 2012 was like 720p, and fast forward to 2025, Pokemon is still 720p. These buildings are embarrassing. They have flat balconies. I mean, Jesus Christ, there's no 3D effect to it whatsoever. At least Sonic had balcony 3D models on windows back in the day. I mean, these windows, by the way, these backgrounds are straight out of Sonic 2006. I mean, and to think that Halo 3 came out, I think, in like 2007 on the Xbox 360, and it looks miles better than a Pokemon game that released in 2025. But you know what? You know what the moral of the story here is? Is just spend your money on Digimon Storytime Stranger. Those developers seem to actually care about the quality of the stuff they make. And they don't treat their audience like brain-dead simps like Nintendo does. I just watched a video of the Digimon developers give us a behind-the-scenes of their model creation system. So yeah, they actually care. I encourage any Pokemon fan who's jaded to make that jump. Do not buy another Pokemon game for the next 10 years and play Digimon Time Stranger. It's much better over here, trust me. So reject Pokemon, embrace Digimon, and Power World. You know what? Let's not even talk about the way the game looks. Let's talk about, the mechanics. So let's see. We have the Pokemon abilities completely removed. We have the Pokemon move list reduced. Then we have, gyms and boss battles removed. You have the turn-based battles removed too. The breeding daycare lab thing is removed. The bike is removed. Why on earth would you make a city without a bike? And then let me see what else. We have the double battles removed. So why did Nintendo remove all of their integral game mechanics associated with the Pokemon series? Oh wait, hold on a second. It can be found at Digimon's new game. No, hold on a second. Let me stop joking around. In all seriousness, why did they remove all those mechanics? Because the Game Freak developers are like, why bother trying when these morons will buy it anyway? Most of you have to understand something. This is something I realized many years ago. The Pokemon fans are like special needs. I don't say that to be rude, but no matter what the game looks like or how garbage it is, they will eat it up and play the next game forever and claim that it's the greatest thing thing ever. I mean, what do you call that kind of person who sits in the corner, repeatedly punches themselves in the face over and over again and claim that they're giving themselves, you know, a manicure? Because Pokemon nowadays is like FIFA. It has even worse features than it did 10 years ago. Every year they drop less and less content, but the sales keep going up. So the truth is, these Pokemon fans are basically like the FIFA fans. They will sit there and defend mediocrity until the end of time. There's no hope for these people whatsoever. The reality is, we all know it. Nintendo deserves the Ubisoft treatment. All of their IP should be snatched away from them and auctioned off to better studios who are competent enough to make the games that we truly deserve. I want to see the downfall of Disney and Nintendo within the next 5 years. It just has to happen. And you know what's funny? The irony is that their laziness is the reason why a game like Power World exists in the first place. If you don't give the people what they want, eventually they'll just find somebody else who will do it. And the thing is, their laziness has been clear as day for years now, which is why they want to get rid of Power World so people don't notice their failure and incompetence. They just can't handle the competition and the indie games coming out right now. I mean, let's be honest, the indie games are just destroying the AAA slop that we're getting. And by the way, if Nintendo wants to start suing, I think GTA should sue Nintendo for making trash open world games. And you know what's funny? Nintendo has the nerve to tell Power World you're just a cheap knockoff. I mean, really? Because from where I'm standing, it seems like it's the upgrade. Now, let me just say this. Pokemon Gold and Silver, that was my childhood growing up on the Game Boy Color. I actually cherish those games like you wouldn't believe. So when I see a hot, steamy dump, like Pokemon A to Z, DJ, whatever it's called, and I see Nintendo doing what they're doing with Pokemon, I get mad and I scream, look how they massacred my boy. It's a disgrace. The game is just beyond disrespectful to the players. And all it does is confirm to me that Nintendo does actually despise their fans. Because there's literally no excuse to drudge out some garbage like this. We are talking about the biggest IP in the world, literally bigger than anything else. Pokemon, by the way, as I mentioned previously, Pokemon ZA had a budget of around 13 to 15 mil. United States dollars. Let's take a step back and look at that for a second. I mean, let's look at that. That's less than 1% of its yearly profit on the development cost of its own games. They don't care about Pokemon. They don't care about you. So that made me think, maybe Game Freak isn't the problem because they had a low budget and they probably had a lot of restrictions put on them, creative choices being snatched away. But then I'm reminded that this game was delayed for a year for, quote, polishing. When in reality, the only polishing going on is the Nintendo YouTubers polishing Nintendo's nuts. So yeah, it's really difficult to polish a turd. Game Freak allowed this schlop to be released. They are ultimately culpable just like Nintendo. And by the way, 13 to 15 million, which is double the amount of money that Power World cost to make. So yeah, Game Freak gets no passes. We all know they probably laugh behind the scenes, making everything as cheap as possible because they know that the fans will buy it anyway. Yeah, it's a sad sight. What do you get with a terrible developer working for a terrible company? You guessed it, a terrible video game. And from what I've seen from the last 4 Pokemon games, it seems like 2040 is where we might actually get a Pokemon game worth playing. Because at the end of the day, every year people complain about how bad Pokemon is. And then they go out and buy 2 copies of it and they wonder why things never change. And on that bombshell, let me know what you think about this in the comments. I'll be watching very closely. Manix out.